Hi everybody, welcome to this week's I Paint with Sarah. We've had some amazing sunsets lately. I had a photo shared on my Facebook page from one of my friends in Cordova, and it was a beautiful sunset, so we're going to use that as our example for our coastal Cordova painting today. So you're going to want about a nickel or quarter size amount of white. So we're going to blend that in with lots of colors. I'm just going to use just a little bit of each of these yellows. Like I said, just a little. Yeah, a little bit both yellows. I'm just going to use magenta, so our darker pink, just a little bit. A little bit of purple. I'm going to use both the parrot blue and the bimini blue. Like I said, just a little bit, so I'm going to do a lot of the colors. It's going to be a fun water reflection. Oop. A little bit of the darker blue. That's going to do it for now. We'll add the black in a little bit later. So we're going to start with our number 10 brush. One of your bigger square brushes or filbert, get it wet. Dry it off. I'm going to dip into some white and then a little bit of my lighter yellow. And we're going to start at this corner and do a little bit different. We're going to make like a triangular, and we're going to paint all of our colors kind of in a triangle. So what makes this interesting is the sun would have been setting over here and it just reflected all these amazing colors onto the water. So white and a little bit of the yellow, so you're going to paint right on in here. Your line, you can squiggle it too, so it doesn't have to be, so you can just squiggle. Paint my edges too. Now I'm not going to wash, I'm just going to kind of wipe it off. I'm going to take a little bit of the white and mix it with a little bit of purple, or pink, sorry. I don't know my colors today. A little bit of pink on there. And I'm just going to squiggle right along here. And I'm going to do the same thing down here, because we want our reflections to match. And I'll rinse, wipe off. And I'm going to use my clean brush just to kind of squiggle a little bit of that pink back in here. Squiggle right on. So you'd have your Bob Ross moment now. I'm going to take a little bit more of my pink and white. You can start getting a little bit of purple in there too. And since my pink and purple went all the way up to this corner here, it's going to go just right down in here as well. Now this pink and purple is making a nice bridge of this yellow color before we get into some of our blues. So you don't want to have any of the yellow and the blue together, or you have green sky. So just take the brush off, clean your brush. Again, you can use that clean brush. We can go all the way across this kind of a horizon line here. And smooth that out. Really constant. Perfect. Edges. Wash my brush off. I'm going to start next taking some of my white and my parrot blue. And I'm just going to paint right on in here. So I'm going to go now with my turquoise and a little bit of my purple, still taking a little bit of white with it. Start up at that corner. So I'm going to match this corner down here. Again, this is going to be a water reflection, so you want colors to match up. A little purple. A little bit of white and purple too. So again, you can start squiggling a little bit more, or even just twist your brush. If you're getting brush strokes like that and you're seeing anything, just get right off to the edge of the canvas. This is just our base coat. We're gonna go and add more clouds to it. Promise the magic will happen. Trust the process. So I wiped my brush off. I'm gonna go take this brush, my big brush, still stay on that one, take a little bit of the white, and I'm gonna take a little bit of the pink and purple. And right up here, I want to kind of start, I'm just wiggling the tip of my brush in here. I want to start creating the illusion that this is some clouds. And I want to do the same type of thing down here. Add just a little bit of pink in there. A little more white. And you just twist your brush. So you can just dab it. So you can just dab like that. So you get the actual fluffy texture. I'm going to let that area dry. You don't want to work while it's wet. You want to work it a little bit, but you want to give it some time to rest too. So I'm going to move on back over to my light yellow side, and I'm going to take, which brush? Let's take, we're going to take our small filbert, which is our number 4. Get it wet, dry it off. And I want to take some of the pink. So I want to make some really vibrant pink clouds in here. Maybe just a little bit of white with it. So right in here, up on this skyline, I'm just going to wiggle and dab my brush. So you can take a little bit of your yellow and pink too, because the light will be hitting right underneath these clouds. And just be careful of taking that yellow over into that blue. And all I'm doing is just lightly dabbing on there. A little bit of white, a little bit of yellow. And I'm just blending right up into that pink that I already placed. So again, doing the same thing down here. So we're going back to our big brush, number 10, mix a little bit of white and pink to make a real light pink over here. And after I dried, I want to I'm just wiggling. Make it a little more fluffy. Because clouds have that nice transparency to them too. Pull sideways a little bit. Now we're talking, now we're starting to get a sky, right? Clouds are a little tricky. You can tend to overwork them, overthink it. Like I said, I'm just taking the edge of my brush, just lightly. And I'm just lifting up. I'm not pressing very hard at all. And you can even pull your brush and just kind of wiggle it. We like to overthink our clouds too much. I'm going to pull all the way across too for my shoreline here. That's the edge of my water. And take a little bit more pinks on it to be a little bit darker pink at the top. Even take a little bit of the purples and the blues. You can, even if you just want to wiggle your brush, you can wiggle. Again, keeping it consistent down here. Wipe my brush off. When I'm doing clouds, I wash my brush quite a bit, and then I just like to use that damp brush to dab. You can even use your finger. So look at that. Use your finger in there too. I'm taking a little bit of the blues, my purple at the top up here. I want it to be a little bit darker. I want to make some of these a little bit darker clouds. You can always switch to your smaller brushes too. Any brushes you're comfortable with. Just use a slightly damp brush. I'm just going to design your sky. Again, if you feel like you lost too much of a color, you want a little bit more, then take a little bit of that color back in. So now we got a good start on our clouds. I'm going to pour a little bit of black, just a little bit, and we're going to start on our shoreline. I'm going to use our bigger angle brush. I'm actually going to mix a little bit of the purple. I'm going to grab a little bit of purple and a little bit of the blue, dark blue, and I'm going to mix that into the black, just to give it a little different. Use that to your plate. It's going to make it like a darker blue-gray color. And then what I'm going to do is right along here, I'm going to pull straight across where I want my line. And then I'm just going to place, and I'm just going to go and create a shoreline. And so you can just use the tip of your brush, create that shoreline, go across. If you don't like using this angle brush and you want to use a different one, you definitely can do that as well. Angle, maybe I want it to change up a little bit over here. It's your world, you're creating it. Our light source is on this other side, so I do want to make sure that this side is a little bit darker over here. And the purples are just a nice touch. Leave a little bit of blue. A little bit different than just black. And we'll go right along the edge. So I'm rinsing my brush off. You know, tap. I'm not completely drying it. I'm going to take that damp brush and I'm just going to pull down and use the tip of my brush here. And I'm going to go into that paint, just to grab a little bit of paint there. And I want to start adding, it's just lightly letting the tip of the brush go in here and add that little bit of the reflection on the water. You can pull this all the way across as well too. There you go. I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Got the blue sprays. I'm just gonna kind of spool it up. If you want it to look like there's trees, maybe over here, this is point, you get some spruce trees, you can just take the edge of your brush, just go straight on up. So maybe this cove was a little bit closer. And I'm just gonna scoop it. Like I said, I like those pops of the purple and the blue in there. And you can take just the tip of your brush. Just gonna take those distant trees, wipe it off, and we're gonna do the same type of thing. Going down here with a little bit of the wet brush. Go down, and you can turn your brush this way as well. Just letting it out. There we go. So we're gonna let this area dry a little bit before we come back and re-highlight some of this back here, and we're gonna create our rocks on our beach. I'm just gonna take again some of the blue and the black, angling in my brush. Oops, move those little guys out of the way. And you're just going to angle in your shoreline right in here. We're gonna highlight them in a little bit, but and just some blue and black. You can take a little bit of the lighter blues in there too. Lift it up so you can see a little bit. There we go. So I just took a little bit of the blues and the black. And you don't have to be perfect. Now what I want to do is, because my light is coming from this side, I want to highlight on the right side of my rock. So I'm going to go to my smaller brush. I'm going to go to my number 4 and take a little bit of my light blue, and I'm just going to highlight that shine right on some of these rocks right over here. There we go. Like I said, this painting is going to allow you to have your Bob Ross moments. Let's place a little bit and just blend them right into that darker paint so we can make it come alive. So now that this has dried a little bit, and you know what, I think to be safe, I'm going to hit it with a hairdryer because it looks like it's a little wet. So if you need to, take a hairdryer. So I'm going to take my number 9 brush, get it wet, tap it off. I'm going to take a little bit of the white, and you can even take a little bit of water, add it into the white so it's not so thick. I'm going to take a little bit of the light blue in there too, a little bit of white and light blue. So I got a little bit of white and light blue, water down, and I'm going to pull right across. Oh, maybe a little bit more white. If you need to pour some fresh, so you get that. There you go, a little bit of white and light blue. I'm just going to pull, you can use your small brush as well, right across this water, a little shiny. Okay, wipe brush off, got a little bit more. If you want to take like a little bit of the yellow, if you feel like you've covered up too much your yellow area, you can do that. Pulling it sideways. So it's really going to start making it look like water. Wiping my brush off, taking a little more of the white with a little bit of the light blue on the side. We have a stillness in the ocean, but it's still gonna be having those waves come in and breaking it down a little bit. So it's just taking a little bit of that white and then not too much. So just pull it. If you get too much, just wipe your brush off, a little bit of the water, and you can just, whoops, let's pull it right across. So again, if you mess up an area, make sure you can dry it. You can go back and repaint. The key is keeping your yellow separated from your blues with a little bit of pink, okay? We don't want any greens. And then just take your time with it. So I'd say that's gonna be it for us today on this. I think that looks pretty good. All right, guys, so that does it for our Coastal Cordova painting today. Remember, these paintings are just the start and a foundation for you to work on. So I would be able to paint on this for weeks. So I want to see all of those extras you're adding and put them in the comments below, and we'll see you next week.